Evening, good evening, good evening. A good day to be clean. A good day to wake up knowing that we still alive. Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Miss Renee Williams telling you that God is good and good all the time. And we are on step 8. And before we get to step 8, let us open up with a moment of silence. I need some air. Give me that fan over there. Open up a moment for the addicts who still suffer in and outside of these walls. My God. Put it up. Yes. Okay, my God. All right. I first want to give a shout out to all the ones that celebrating clean time, for all the ones that is in treatment, trying to get themselves together. I want to celebrate the ones that's have months, days. It isn't easy, but it's better than it was, and it's going to be better than it's been if you just hold out. And I want to give a shout out to the treatment facilities all over the world. Inside, outside patient, inside patients, therapists, counselors. Thank you. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for every life you done touch. Thank you for every situation that you have helped solve for an individual like I was, an individual like me, that came into treatment all alone, desperate, confused, and not understanding what's going on. Thank you, counselors. You know, you do a lot. You give yourself a lot, and I appreciate that. Today, I want to give a shout out to all the parents and daughters and sisters who've lost a loved one due to drug addiction. Drug addiction is very real. It's nothing to play with. It's taking people's lives, killing our loved ones. And I want to say to myself, too, I dealt with drugs and alcohol. My son dealt with pain pill, opium, and stuff like that. And he not here neither. So, you know, I struggled every day to keep his memories alive, and you all need to do the same thing. It ain't easy to just take one day at a time. Same thing with the addiction. Yeah, pain is the same thing in recovery. It's the same thing with any addiction. It's the same thing with any pain. You have to take one day at a time and deal with it the best you can. Everybody deal with it in a different way. You know, so everybody grieve in a different way. I know, because I grieved. I know. No, you have to deal with it, and can't nobody else tell you what you should do and shouldn't do. Everybody grieve different, especially when you buried your children. And I know I dealt with it for a long time, and I'm still dealing with it. I miss my son, and I know where he's at. You know, I know at the last end of the time of his life, he gave it to God. And that I'm going to stand on that. He's in paradise, as my godmother would say. Hey, girl, he's in paradise. You know, so anyway, we on step 8. And this is a good step. It was a broken, it kind of broke me when I got on this step. People ask me, say, Renee, what do you do when you're confused? What did you do when you came in treatment and you didn't know nothing? I was dumbfounded, didn't know nothing. You know, so we are on step 8. We made a list. Now get this now. When you come in treatment, you have to make, for your benefit, not for theirs, you have to make a list. They tell us that. I didn't do that at first. We have to make a list to all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Now, that step is an eye-opener for you to look back into your life and see Who you had harmed. Who, I need some water, somebody. Give me a bottle of water on my refrigerator. Excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry. Made a list to all peoples you had harmed. Now, this is a good one because when we come into treatment, we don't think about the people that we hurt or harmed. All we are confused. We baffling with our addiction. We don't know what's, don't know what's going on. Don't know nothing about the disease. Don't know why am I here. Why do I have to be here? Counting and baffling, we struggle in. We made, it says we, and it say I. Everybody must make amends to all the persons we have harmed. Man. When they said that, make a list of all the persons you had harmed. The first person I had harmed was me. I had to deal with me first. The first person I had harmed in my addiction was me. And I couldn't get over it. I just couldn't get over all the things. Hey, Cynthia, I couldn't get over all the things that I had done to me. We made a list, and I was the top one on the list because I had harmed myself mentally, emotionally, and physically. I was damaged. Walking around not knowing how this addiction worked. Not knowing that once I picked up some drugs and alcohol, I didn't know it was going to be a lifelong living thing for me. I thought I could just drink and slow down, but then the more I drank, the more I wanted to drink, and the more I used, the more I wanted to use. You know, so my addiction, I had to make amends to me first before I can deal with anybody else. And that's what we must do when we come into recovery, when we trying to understand this addiction. We have to learn how to admit and open and tell on this disease and tell on the thing that took all of our joy out of our lives. I know it did for me. I can't speak to nobody else, but it took so much joy and so much laughter and so much honesty out of me. Because all I wanted to do was use. All I wanted to do was get high. I'm telling you the honest to God truth. That's all I wanted to do. Hey, Auntie Evelyn. All I wanted to do. So when we made a list to all the peoples we had harmed, I was the first person on the list. And so I had to deal with that. I had to deal with being the first person on the list so I can understand this disease of an addiction and see where it go. You know, people's overlook people. You know, people think, oh, you know, she popping pills and she drinking and it's doing some harm, y'all. Y'all just don't know. It's doing some harm. It's like slowly commit suicide. That's what I was doing. Slowly commit suicide. And for the other addicts that came in before me and after me, you know, you have to get honest in this program in order to get something out of the program. If you come in not searching and getting nothing out of the program so you can recover, you won't recover. You will miss it. You won't get what you need if you don't apply your whole self into this program. And the program of 12 Steps to Narcotics Anonymous has been good to me because it helped me put my life on the right path. It helped all of us get our lives together. We helped us understand this disease, which I hate this disease of an addiction. But I understand when we come in as unity, as peoples, we are broken, we are confused, we are mind baffling, you know, we done stumble, you know, we done hit bottom, you know, we done went through all of it. So I had to deal with me. And then it says, as we became willing, you got to be willing to do any of this. You can't just do it because people say, or the program tells you to do it. You have to want to do it. You have to want to understand why this disease beat us up so bad, and why this disease is, only cure for this disease is not to use, not to pick up, not to use. And I understand that, because honey, let me tell you something. Sometimes I'm telling y'all, don't let nobody tell you that because you're clean, that you don't struggle, that you don't have hurt. You ain't gonna come up on pain. Because honey, I know what pain is in the life of struggling in recovery, and I know what the pain that brought me in my clean time of recovery. So you have to maintain and have a balance in your life to want to do what's right and want to get yourself. And if it's all due to God, because I know it wasn't for God, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today. I'm not confused at all. And I don't let nobody confuse me when it get to that point, that the same God that woke me up this morning is going to be the same God that helped me go to sleep tonight. And the same God that helped me, delivered me off of drugs and alcohol, along with the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. This program is meant for anybody that wants this program. This program is meant for anybody that's struggling, anybody that's stumbling, anybody that hit rock bottom, anybody that's been confused, anybody that's been hurting, anybody that's shut down, anybody that's isolate because they don't understand this disease of an addiction. And so when we had to make amends to all the persons we had harmed, please start with yourself first. Because the only way you're going to be able to make amends to the people that you have harmed, you got to know how you harmed yourself. And you got to realize that you have came to a point in your life, I'm tired. I'm just tired. I can't do it no more. Ain't no use of me trying to pretend, fit in with people, trying to act like I got it like that, trying to be somebody that I'm not, And that's what's wrong with a lot of people. People try to act like they got it. People try to act like they something that they not. People trying to fit in where they can get in. And that's how we got with this disease called drug and alcohol, trying to fit in with going to bars, drinking, having fun. People think they having fun, and I did too. You think you having fun, but when it all boils down, you're going to see it's going to break you at the end. It's going to break you at the end. Hey, Auntie Wanda, it's going to break you at the end because I was broken. And I know if I was broken, everybody that came in treatment was broken. We get tired. We don't understand. We didn't know. And now that I do know, so when it says we made a list, man, my list was long. But the list started off with me at the top. I had to deal with me. I had to deal with everything that I went through, everything that I did, everything person I had harmed. I had to deal with me. I had to. Hey, Naomi. I had to. Oh, I had to. When I think about the things that he brought me out of, it makes me want to do right and better. It makes me want to understand this disease of an addiction. And let me tell you something here that's on. When we made a list of all the persons we had harmed, you know what? My addiction started before I picked up. My addiction started way when I was little. My addiction started my behavior, my attitude, my insecurities. All of them started before I picked up the alcohol, before I picked up the drugs. I gotta be honest, because addiction is addiction, and I had so many. We accumulate a lot of addictions in our addictions. We think it's all just due to drugs and alcohol. No, drugs and alcohol is the biggest part of the disease that we can stop, that chemical dependency. We can stop. But really, we got to work on all our addictions. The lying addiction, the stealing addiction, the prostitute addiction. I mean, I had so many I had ran out. I had to kind of remember how much I harmed me. I'm the first one on the list, because if I can't deal with the first one on the list, I'm not going to be able to deal with all the other people who I harmed and brought harm to, and I brought harm to a lot of people, physically, mentally, and emotionally. I'm not confused. I know what I've done. That's why I told you I was tired. We come in tired. We come in, people don't understand how I got family members, I got friends right now that's dealing with struggling through alcohol and drugs. Come on, Renee. And I know, people think that because somebody can laugh and talk, and behind the laugh and talk is pain, and you can't see it. Sometimes people sleep their life away. Sometimes people go and isolate themselves because they don't want to be bothered. Sometimes these are people that's struggling. I know, I ain't even got to be trying to figure it out. I know, because I was them peoples. I was in that situation. I know what I took my own self through. And sometimes while we taking ourselves through, we take other people's through it too. We don't know that they loving on us, and they trying to find a way to help us, and we're trying to find a way to give in. But if we have to play a biggest part of trying to free ourselves, trying to get ourselves together, because mamas, daddies, sisters, and brothers can't do it. My mama couldn't save me. Only thing my mama can do, and that was a gift, that what she done, she prayed for me. She prayed over and over and over for me until it became efficient for me to grasp it and want it. So when I had to make this list, I had to get butt naked and honest. I had caused some more people some pain when, one time I went to this person's house, and I had been sleeping with her husband, and I was so mad because he didn't give me the money that I wanted. He didn't give me the money that he promised. So I went to his house up under the influence of drugs and alcohol. And I remember going to her house and ringing her doorbell. And I remember she come to the door and she was like, "Yes, can I help you?" And I was mad and angry. And I was saying, "Yeah, is your husband here?" And she was like, "May I ask why?" I said, "Can you please tell your husband to come to the door?" And she went and got him. And when he came, he was like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Well, where's the money you promised me?" And his wife looks at me and say, "Who is this? Why is she here? Why is she at our house?" So when I see them scenes on Facebook, I've been there. And I could have got shot in the midst of my addiction. I could have been blown away. And wasn't nothing nobody could do. I would just be a lost soul. And I said, "I need my money. You promised me my money." And he was like, "How dare you come to my house? How dare you come to my house?" And I'm like, "How dare you get my coochie? How dare you lay with me?" I was furious. And the more he talked, the more mad I got. "Just give me my money. Just give me my money." And she said, "Oh, you slept with her? You been sleeping with this lady? You been cheating on me?" I said, "Yes, he have. Yes, he have. He been cheating on you because he was just at my house last night." I caused some harm to that family through my addiction. She started crying, and man, it broke me. I'm up under the influence of drugs and alcohol, and it broke me to see this lady holding a little baby in her hand. I didn't care about that. All I wanted was my money, and so I can go and get some more drugs and alcohol. I didn't care about nobody paying, but I brought harm to that family. I brought harm to that lady. That lady didn't know me. That lady had kids. I brought harm. And I had to find a way to, now I'm hurt because this lady is hurt. And I wanted to get back at him. And I said, all I want is the money. She was like, "Give him the money. Give her the money. You promised her the money. Give her the money." How much money it was? I said, $500. She said, "He ain't got no $500. I said, "Yes, he do." I said, "I want my money he promised." He laid with me. He slept with me. He helped buy the drugs for me. And she was just flabbergasted. And she wrote me a check for $500. I had caused harm to that family. I had caused harm. I had maybe caused emotional harm to this lady who I never knew, who I didn't know. But see, when you up under the influence of drugs and alcohol, it don't care. Only thing it cares about is that you get your fix, you get your drink, you get your pills, or whatever your addiction is. That's all that you worried about. So I had caused harm. I had caused plenty of harm to this lady. Then, come on. Then I had caused harm to where, I think I told y'all one time we was all getting high, and we had made a list, so I had to make a list. And sometimes the peoples that you want to make a list to not alive. Sometimes the peoples you need to make amends to is not here anymore. They done died or moved on. So I had to learn how to. Work a step. I had to call my sponsor because I wanted to do this right. I didn't want to come in and out of treatment like I see people doing struggling. I had a young lady to call me. I'm going to jump all over the place because that's where I'm at today. This lady called me yesterday and she was like, I don't know why. I stay clean for a couple months or a month, then I go back to you. I said, well, you ain't never surrendered. You played the part, but you ain't never surrendered. If you keep dibbing and dabbing going to take you out of here. You got to get it right. You can't just dib and dab in this program. This program was meant for you not to dib and dab. This program was meant for you to be honest, open-minded, and willingness to give it all. To give it all you got. If you come in this program thinking you only gonna get a little bit out of it, oh no, you wrong. You gonna get the most enjoyable, most awarding gifts out of this program. But you gotta apply yourself. So I remember doing harm to people and causing, I never forget that. The look on that lady's face. The crying. But in my addiction, I didn't care. All I wanted was what I wanted, what you promised me. You couldn't give me my coochie cut back. You couldn't make me, give me everything that I had done to you back. So now I want my money. And as I was walking with half of the check and then half of money, I started weeping. I started crying because I had brought harm to somebody that this lady didn't deserve that. She didn't know I was a crackhead or a dope fiend. She didn't know her husband was cheating with me. She thought she had a good husband like I thought some of my husbands was good. Life is a checkerboard. Life is like checkers. You make that move, and sometimes it ain't the right move. Sometimes you got to just sit there and think about what move you're going to make. Apply that in your life. You can't come in this program dibbing and dabbing and playing and scheming. You got to be honest and open-minded and willing, because it will bite you. It will catch up with you and it will bite you. And so I had to make that list, and on that list was me first. I had to identify. When y'all start working a program, always apply yourself first. Because if you can't apply yourself first and start healing and start looking at the truth and start trying to figure out what you did and the reason why I did, I had to make a list because I needed to find out with my sponsor when me and her worked these steps is that how did I become like this? What happened? What brought me to this point of not wanting to put down something that's going to make me feel good? Because everything I took made me feel good. If anybody tell you they drink because they unhappy, they lying. They drinking because they full of pain, or they drinking because things ain't right, or sometimes they just a sociable drinker when everything is right. It just depends on what type of person you are. I was an impulsive person. I couldn't take one and be satisfied with one. I had to keep on drinking. I had to keep on drinking until I had the full effect. Drunk somewhere asleep, pissed on myself, couldn't find an addict, when you using, you don't think about nothing. You are the most selfish person in the world. Because it becomes all about you. It don't become about your mama, your sister, your brother. It becomes all about you. You want that fix. You want what you need so you can get it and get high and you can escape any kind of pains and feelings that you going. Because see, I didn't like feelings at all. Feelings what got me getting high. The feelings what got me to drinking. Chaotic and living in a chaotic mind like I was got me to not stop. So I had to cause harm. I can tell you plenty of stories where I can cause harm to somebody. I have hurt people. I have used people. I have manipulated people. But see, the God of my understanding, he knew all that. He knew that before I knew it. He knew I was going to do all this before I knew it. But because he created us and because he loved us so, that he was going to find a way to get me connected with somebody that can help me, help myself get my life together again. And I'm so grateful. That's why I still get on here, because I'm grateful. I'm a grateful addict. A grateful addict will never use again. That's what they tell me. And so far that's been working for me. But when it says we made a list, that list became very long, even with my name on the top. That list had went down. I had caused harm and did some things to my mama, you know, and people don't like to be honest about their addiction. You know, people want to come in and say a little bit, and then say, I'm just a person that, hey, whatever God let come out my mouth is going to come, long as it ain't harming nobody, long as I'm trying to help another individual. I got to do his will. And what is his will? His will is for me to get better. His will is for us to stay better. His will is for us to leave the drugs and the alcohol alone. Cut on the TV, people is dying. Our babies is dying. People is getting killed up under the influence of drugs and alcohol. So I had to learn how to deal with me. We made a list. And up on that list, I started first. And before I got through, for the whole year that I was on here, I was only halfway through the list. So that let you know how many people I had harmed, did wrong by. Because when we addicts, we don't care who we hurt, who we use. We don't care. All we know that when we come in from the part of drowning, I had drowned for a long time and couldn't swim. And eventually the pain got so great enough, I had to give myself a time out to get myself together and find out how this. And then it says we become willing to make amends. So let me go back. Let me go back. That same lady, which is anonymity, I can't call her name. That same lady, as I got clean 3 years, I didn't go back to her house and disrespect her house. I sit there with a clean mind, with a soul that wanted to do right. I wanted to fix that, and I waited. I waited for her one day, and I followed her. The things that you will do to make amends. And I caught her going to a store. And she got out, I walked out, and I said, I know you don't want to see me. She said, we paid you your money. I said, I know. I said, but here is your money back. She said, for what? You know, why you want to pay me back? I said, can I be honest? I want to pay you back because I need to make an amends to you, miss. You didn't know me. I said I was a dope fiend. I was on drugs. And I shouldn't have did what I did. And the reason I'm standing here in front of you now today is to ask you for forgiveness. We all make mistakes. Your husband made a mistake, but it wasn't for me to come to your house and bring harm to you and your husband. That wasn't the point. I shouldn't have never done that. I said, and if you can forgive me, and I mean, I gave her money back. And she started crying. And she looked at me. She said, what? Why did a person like you get on drugs? I said, is it a certain look or a certain a way we dress? The best can get on drugs. I said, you don't know anything about addiction, baby, but addiction started way before I picked up the drugs and alcohol. But all I want to do is say, I'm sorry, will you forgive me? See, that was a big amends to me because I never forget that look on her face when I seen her and she was crying and she thought the man of her life that loved her had been cheating on her with a dope fiend like me, and she was devastated. And I never could get past that. I never could get past that hurt that I saw on that lady's face. Because how many times had that hurt been on me? So when I gave her the money, she said, no, you keep the money. She said, just because you came and followed me, showed me that you ain't the person that I met at my front door. I said, please take it. She said, I can't. Because if you got enough nerves to follow me and come and ask me for forgiveness, and you don't know what kind of pain that caused my whole house, but you was willing to sacrifice your feelings to come and to ask me for forgiveness. She said, take that money and help another addict. Help another somebody. And I just bust out and started crying. See, when you work in a program, that program is meant for you to have an outcome that is so wonderful and is so gifted that you can go back and tell somebody that you made some amends. Now, some amends, people that I harmed was gone. You know, like I told you, I went to Pastor Womack back years ago to make some amends to people that I had harmed that wasn't here no more. I had to get it off of me. But I'm telling you, so far, I see my sister Selena's on here. Y'all go see her on Tuesday night and tell me what y'all think. Spiritual feeding is always good for the soul. She's at Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Okay, so it says, and we became willing. See, I became willing to let God come in and just take all of me and fix and mold me up because I was broken. You know, I was like, you know, like we get this vessel and we go to pick it up and move it somewhere and it's break. And when that vessel break, it's many pieces all over the floor and it's all scattered everywhere and you got to find them pieces. Well, I was that vessel that was broken. And I had to kind of find the pieces and mend my life back together again. But I know long as I had God as my head of my household, and long as I had God, the God of my understanding, to help me through it, I wasn't going to fail. That's how much faith I had. I know I was in this to win it. I know I was in this not to give up. You know, so see, I had to learn how to understand my feelings and my emotions, and I had to understand how to deal with accountability, and I had to learn how to get some acceptance to deal with the feelings and deal with the things that I had did, and I had harmed, but I had came a willing. It says willing. That means, what do you do? See, I had became willing to do it all. Like I had a will to go and sit and watch that lady. And I go to that lady so I can get some sleep at night. I had to get some sleep. That bothered me. No matter if we was up under the influence of drugs and alcohol, once you get clean and get your life together, everything become clear now. You ain't in that cloud no more. It ain't no dark. Ain't no darkness. Ain't no darkness. And I had to make some amends that I didn't even want to make. But I made them to cleanse me, to look at me. I remember I tell y'all how I crawled on the floor and I stole that money out my mama brought. Boy, that took more energy to crawl on that floor to get to my mama's breast, to get that money out of her breast and untie that doggone safety pin and take that money from my mama. Addiction! Addiction will do that. Addiction will take you and change your whole character. Addiction. Some of the things that I did to peoples and hurt peoples, I look back over my life now. I don't know why I'm still here. I got a kind of idea. But hey, it says all persons we had harmed. My mama was included. My sisters and brothers was included. People that I love was included. Because I wasn't nothing nice. I was very mean. Drugs had me very mean. Alcohol had me very mean. You know, it had me holding stuff. It had me holding all my insecurities. It had me holding all my hurt. I didn't know where to put it at. I didn't know nothing about no 12-step program. And so what about the people that don't know about a 12-step program? What about the people that think they alone? What about the people that need somebody and nobody's around because they don't know, because we don't talk, we hide? That's why I try to help anybody I come in contact with it, because so many people helped me when I came into treatment. So when they say play it forward, they mean play it forward. You're going to have to play it forward in this life. Because of the God of my understanding, if he been good to you to wake you up every day and you've been clean and you ain't had the desire to pick up the drugs and alcohol and put them back when chaotic stuff come into your life. Man, I done been through something. But I wear it well. And I'm always carry it well. Because I found the tools to use to help me work it out. I found I ain't stuck no more. I ain't holding on to what people's done to me and I got envy to try to get them back. I had to, when you love God and when God loves you, you become a different person. You become a different creature, and that creature is beautiful. You become somebody special that you ain't got to say nothing. People will just see it. I ain't got to fit in no more. I ain't got to pretend like I got it, or I ain't got to pretend like I'm somebody else. All I got to do is just be Renee. And do you know how good that feel when when I was making this list of all the person that I had harmed, how I went to most of the peoples and talked to them. Some of them I couldn't talk. Some of them I had to write a letter to. I couldn't face you because, see, I had harmed you. I had harmed you so much. I had harmed you. So some peoples I wrote a letter to, and some of them, the reason I wrote a letter to because they was dead. And I had to do it up under Pastor Womack. And I remember Pastor Womack taking me in the office, and I had 3 letters that I had to make amends to that was not here. And I was told by my sponsor, I have a very good sponsor, same sponsor for all 35 years, the same sponsor. She ain't went nowhere. We still we still talk, we still, we do our tables together. And she'll tell me when I'm wrong and she'll tell me when I'm right. But see, I had to make some amends, so I had to go in Pastor Womack office, church I'm still at now, and take these letters and read them off, and he can be my witness. I had to do that for me. Nobody ask me or told me how to do it. I choose to do it that way. Because, see, I was hurting by hurting other people. When you get clean, it's no way you can stay clean and not realize you done brought harm to somebody else, or you done hurt somebody else, and you think you can just get clean and not live it down and not see what you know. Some people do though. Some people get clean and just forget about whoever they harmed or hurt. I couldn't do that. When you work these steps, you have to be honest. And you have to be willing to want to do it. You got to be willing. I was willing. You know, my godmother was here at my birthday party for Christmas. You know, thank God I made 65. Thank you, God. And she said something that I didn't think nobody seen or felt but me. And last night I was just thinking. She said, your heart is so good, but sometimes you don't want to show it. And then another friend of mine, who's on here now, said, everybody don't have what you got. See, them words that everybody had something to say about me, I wanted to know how did people feel about me. From my loved ones or from my friends. You know, I wanted to know if was I living the way I was walking. I wanted to know that. And my friend, Cynthia, I can call her name because she right here. She said to me, they don't have that. She sees something. She saw it in me. And me and this girl done bumped heads. Woo! I love her to death. Me and her done bumped heads and wanted to kill each other. I wanted to kill her at one time. Clean. But see, the God in me set me free of how to change the way I think and act. And you know who your friends is because they stick and stay. They go away for a minute, they come back. They go away for a minute, they come back. But you never lose that connection. I have a mission. And that mission is to help anybody that I can help. Because the most people that I had harmed and made and caused them problems, I had to make an amends. And sometimes you can make an amends through other people's that you help. Other people's that you do for, that you know that didn't do for you, but you doing something for them, making amends for somebody that who ain't here, and living that life of making amends to them all. I don't know what nobody else say, but I make amends, and for the ones who ain't here, let me make amends to somebody that needs something, or need a ride, or need a bill paid, or need something. I can make an amends like that for the person that's not here no more that I brought harm to. And that person is gone. But I did write 3 letters. I got that off of me because that bothered me. When you get clean, if things don't bother you, and you clean and you can see clearly now, you walk in the right path, you finally know who you are, you finally done opened and had this willingness to change your whole entire life. Because the old life that you created was horrible. Evilness. I had to change. So when I make amends to them all, I'm making amends every day to somebody. I'm even making amends to the kids and they ain't did nothing, but I'm making amends to make up for the ones that I couldn't make amends to. My life is making amends every day, some kind of way. But for that list, it started with me. Don't you make that list and your name ain't at the top of it. Because if you don't make that list and your name is not on the top of it, and you trying to make amends to everybody else, why you missing you? You should be the first one on that list. You should be the first one trying to get some understanding and have a willingness to want to know, why did you do all this stuff to you? See, now I know because of the addiction. I hate this disease because of this addiction, the alcohol and the drug, even the pills. Like if I don't take my medicine, or if I don't, and my medicine is, I'm talking about, I'm going to use it 2 different ways. If I don't take my medicine that's good for me for the kidney transplant, what do you think that'll happen? If I don't take the medicine that they give me for the kidney transplant, for this new second chance of life kidney that's in me, if I don't take my medicine, what would happen? Kidney would fail. It would stop working. So I have to take that medicine. If I don't take my medicine, the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous and work a program, what do you think will happen? You can have the God in you all you want. The God, the same God still helping you. He's still there for you. But what would happen if you stopped going to meetings? What would happen if you wasn't sitting around no tables? What would happen if you wasn't doing no service work? What would happen if you just stay in-house all the time and never start feeding the medicine that you need to help this disease of an addiction? What do you think will happen? Why do you think people's relapse? Why do you think people go back to using again? Why do you think people start losing their character and become something else different? Because they're not taking their medicine. And their medicine is the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. You have to eat them 12. You have to eat them steps up. You have to understand the steps. You have to work the steps. You have to come to a meeting. You have to become unity and see your friends and your other people that's struggling, that's going through whatever you going through too. Because you don't see me don't mean I ain't working the program. I ain't never using. I ain't never going back to using. Think what you want to think. I'm here to stay. I didn't come in here to play. I came here to find out why am I so messed up, corrupted, and out of socket, out of mind. I was hitting rock bottom. I didn't want to live. How can I want to take a life that I didn't even give life? How could I? It had got to the point I didn't even want to live. But nobody knew that. But I carried that. Because I was shamed and I had so much guilt and I was hurting and I didn't know how to open up to ask somebody for help. I hurt now. I was hurt for a couple of days about some things that went down. But see, I have to get out of my selfishness and think about it is what it is. I can't change people. I can't change nobody. Only person that we can change while we work in this program is ourselves. Remove ourselves. Some people, see, when I came into recovery, I was lost, broken, hurt, confused. How I nurtured. How we nurture people. Let me tell you something about a recovering addict. Most recovering addicts are good people. Most recovering addicts that I know are good people. And I knew that I was a good person nurturing everybody but myself. I knew that. Anybody that know you back 30 years, 20 years can tell you if Renee had it, she gave it. I nurtured everybody. I nurtured everybody. I was a giver. I'm still a giver. Because I don't never want to be a taker. Because takers don't win. I'm going to always be a giver. Whether you give it back or whether you hurt me, I'm going to always be a giver. I'm going to die giving. Because it was freely given to me. And that's why I don't lose. That's why, when I look back over my life right now and somebody asks me, I just told my kids, I said, you know what? I told my grandson he here the week with me, and me and him talk. He 13 years old, and he been sleeping in my bed since he was a baby. And I would have thought it would stop by now. But no matter, he gonna wait up for me until I get in that bed, and then he'll turn over and he'll go to sleep. And he been doing that since I had him since he was 3 weeks old. But me and him have conversations that nobody else that I could have with. Me and him have conversations that's important for him to know about his granny. About his granny. And I understand that when we have certain people we can talk to, because everybody don't understand you. And now I know why some of my kids act the way they act. Because I used to be them. And anybody that know me, I nurture and help everybody. Giver. Watch my mama. Pretty Peggy was a giver. Did she get messed on? Yes. Did she not get nurtured? Yes. My mother was a giver to the core. And now that I'm clean and I look back over my life and my kids, I said, well, you know what I'm going to do, y'all? I said, this program said it works to better ourselves. Next Christmas, I won't be nowhere in sight. I'm going to go somewhere where I don't know nobody. I ain't got to cook. I don't have to cook for nobody else. I don't have to be here. I'm going somewhere where I don't know nobody and nobody knows me. I have never nurtured myself to do that. I've always been here to make sure everybody else eat, everybody else make a gift, and it's my birthday on Christmas. So now I probably understand why it never felt like Christmas, because I was nurturing everybody else on Christmas. I won't do it next year. Everybody on their own. I'm going to look for a road trip. If I got to get in my truck or my other truck and hit it, I'm gone. Because I haven't never nurtured myself. And see, making a list of all persons that we had harmed, I'm in that list. Because I have never nurtured me like I really was supposed to. I'm still nurturing everybody else clean. Do that make sense? So when I feel like I don't get it, I say something about it. Because I didn't get clean not to feel special. And I'm going to make it to where I feel special, whether you give it to me or not. That's just simple. Because all my life I have nurtured everybody else. All my life I have been nurturing peoples. And they don't do you like they do. They just, and let me tell you something, and they won't. And it won't. Hey, Essa, who was that? Essa? They won't. So if you looking and you clean and you doing everything right, you gonna get your nurturing from somebody else you don't even know. Or some that you do know. But you won't get it the way you give it. Became willing to make amends to them all. I had to make amends to my mother. I had to make amends to a lot of people that I hurt and harmed in this addiction. In this addiction, you will fail if you don't get you some help. And you will die. You would have consequences if you don't try to get better and do better. You know, we can recover. They say that. We can recover in this. We can recover in this program. But we must be willing to give ourselves the opportunity of open doors that's going to make our life better. If you keep doing the same thing that you've been doing, you're going to keep getting the same thing that you've been doing. And I had to learn that. If nothing changed, ain't nothing going to change. If I didn't change, what's going to change? I had to change. I had to get butt naked truthful. I had to open. We made the list of all persons we had harmed. And boy, you can't tell me we ain't harmed nobody when we was in our addiction. And I did. I harmed people in my addiction. And it was terrifying. Very terrifying. When I look back at my life and saw all the people that I hurt, people I had stole money from, people that I had lied on, that got in trouble because of my carelessness, people that I had downgraded and I laughed and talked about in my addiction, but yet I'm that crackhead, yep, I'm that dope fiend, yet I'm that alcohol. I was everything that you call me. I was that. I was every bit of it. A winehead, dope fiend. You know, they called me some names that I can't even remember, but I wasn't. I was all that, but I ain't that today. I made a U-turn in my life. And how many of y'all on here have made a U-turn in your life? You can look back in your life and see the U-turn that you made to be better. You gotta make a U-turn in, but we getting older. 65? I never would have thought I would have saw. And people think I say that just to be crazy. I mean every word I say. I never thought I would have made it to get 65 years old. And I say that every year because God's grace has been efficient for me to work a program that was going to better my life, because now I'm taking care of myself. Now I'm nurturing myself. Now I'm giving it all I got. I'm open and I'm willing to say, God, take it, just take it from me. I can't change. I'm tired of people's coming in my life to hurt me when it's convenient for them. I'm tired of people's always making me feel like, you know, it's sad when people want to make you feel like you the victim. So sad. Everybody always want to make you feel like you the victim. When you sitting back trying to say or trying to figure out, how did I get like this? Why does she always do me like this? Why do he always? I am not the victim no more. And I'm not going to be the victim. Talk to me like you crazy. You say things. You come in my life, and when it's convenient for you, when you need something or you want something, and when I ain't giving it or I say something, I'm the victim. I'll take it. Because I'm not the victim no more. And you ain't going to make me be the victim. Nobody is taking me out of my character ever again. Do you know how long I worked so hard to find this character, to find Renee again? Do you know how long that some of these people that come into recovery have worked on their lives, have changed their life, that have made U-turns to turn their life around? They lost their self and their name. I lost me long time ago. But somehow through the grace of God, he helped me find me. I don't ever want to lose Renee again. And I'm not. I'm not ever going to lose me again. Because it took me so long to find me, the real Renee. Find the real insecurity. Find the real hurt. Find the real neglect. Find the real denial. Find everything you can find within yourself when you come into a program like Narcotics Anonymous program. Because Narcotics Anonymous program ain't going to let you down. It's you to let yourself down. The program works if you work it. When you get out of character, then you lose your hope. When you get out of character, you lose your possibilities. So I'm not losing nothing. I'm staying in the realm of the 12-step of Narcotics Anonymous program. I got to do what they tell me to do because it didn't work for me for so long. I've been clean only due to the meetings and due to the conventions and due to the peoples and due to my sponsor. I've only stayed clean through the grace of God, the God of my understanding. That's all in these books. How can you fail if you trust a man that you can't see, but you know he's doing great things for you? God is doing great things for us. And I ain't going back. I'm not a victim no more. I'm not going to put myself in that shoe. You're not going to hold me hostage like you have held me hostage for many years. You know, many years I look back how I wanted to take a drink and I'm clean. How I wanted to get high again and I'm clean. And I had to look at that and see what's going on, Renee. Why do that thought even come to your mind? Because it's a thought. It only become active when I pick up and do it. But anybody can have a thought. But the thought is scary itself to think that you wanted to take a drink. Like when my mother died, I wanted to take a drink. I wanted to get high. Why? Because them are the amenities that I use to run from things and run from hurt and help me with hurt. And so I had to find a way I had to realize, go to your book. Go to your book, Renee, because now you in a scary place. Now you finna go bury your mom, and you gotta say goodbye. And hey, that was scary for me. Very scary for me. But it was the God of my understanding that brought me through that. I know it wasn't me. Can't nobody tell me that was all me. It was a God of my understanding that helped me understand that God does things for a reason and a purpose and a season. He gave me my money, my mother, all them years. She watched me stay clean. So when I made amends to my mother, I was so glad I made amends to her because she was the best thing that ever happened to my life. I was her first love, and I am still her first love. My godmama told me my mama's in paradise. It ain't no heaven, it's paradise. And I thank her for that because now I can say, I still say this. I wish paradise had a telephone so I can call my mama up because there's been some days where I needed her. And she's still been there. She's still there. I made a list of everybody I'd harmed. Even the ones that was dead. So I can work this program honestly. Not short-stepping. You got to work a program to get out of the program what it's meant for you to have. And working this program has been nothing but life-changing for me. Saying no to drugs, no matter how much I'm hurting, no matter what I'm going through. say no to alcohol. I can't have a drink. You mean you telling me that when I had to go bury my mother and my son that I can't have a drink? I can't even have a sip? I can't even have a smell? Heck no, Renee. You can't have nothing. You got to face the fears. You got to face the hurt on one-on-one. No drugs, no alcohol, no nothing. I can't take a pill. I can't snort nothing. You telling me I just got to be clean through this whole process? Yep. You can't do nothing. You got to work a program. The program is for people that know what it feels like to be broken and hurt. So now I'm broken and hurt. Saying goodbye to my mama. And some people not even talking to their mama. Some of these kids think that they the mama and we the kids. Some people want to fight and hit their mama and threaten their mama and like they the mama and we the kids. One hurt can last you a lifetime. One life. How many times has somebody, one of my own, wanted to hurt me? Oh, I'm going to tell y'all because some of y'all parents going through it too, because I got two people right now that I got to call back because they went through the same thing. When your own child want to stand up to you and want to hit you and say hurtful things. I ain't never got over that. I don't think I ever will. Because nobody was there but me, her, and my grandkids. What child does that? But they always want to make you the victim. I ain't never got over it, but I ain't got high neither. I ain't picked up behind that when I was on that plane. I didn't get high. What person does that? Unless they broken. What person wants to take their mama life or threaten their mama life in front of their grandkids? What human person does that? I ain't got over it yet. I don't even know what to say. Sometimes I just have to shut up. But we're in a crucial time in life where the kids think they the mother and the mother is being treated like the kid. Or the boys think they the fathers and the fathers are kids. We're in a bad situation now. We're in a bad situation now because now the kids is taking over. Always want us to be the victim. I'm not a victim no more. I ain't holding that. I ain't taking that. I'm not a victim. I was a victim to drugs and alcohol for a lot of years. Over 30 years I was a victim to drugs and alcohol. And I'm not letting nothing take and consume my worth and my self-righteousness. I am not letting that happen no more. So I stay to myself. I work a program. I go to my meetings. I do what I need to do in order to nurture me at all times. We made a list of all the person we had harmed. I harmed some peoples. I maybe wasn't the best mom at the best times, but I wasn't one of them ones that left my kids. I was too scared to do that. I never been evicted. Not talking about the ones that have, but I didn't get to that point. We all have a story to tell, but when I had to make amends to them all, some of them was dead, but I made amends to the 3 that I had caused harm to. That's not here no more. I had to write a letter. And then the people that I could make, it was a lady that I went to go make. I met her at the restaurant. I think I told y'all this. And I had told her I was clean now. And I wanted to make amends for taking her money and blah, blah, blah. And she's still selling dope. I didn't know that. She cussed me out in the restaurant and said, you certain B, I don't care about you being clean. I need my money back. Why you call me to make amends for taking over $2,000 from me? And now you want to make amends? That lady cussed me out. That lady wanted to whoop my butt in the restaurant. But they said make amends. All the person we had harmed and hurted, she was my friend, but I had an addiction problem. And so I knew then, well, shoot, hey, you know, I got to watch this step. You know, I got to really abide by this step, because I can't go to everybody, not everybody that I had harmed, because everybody don't see that. They don't care about me being recovered. They don't care about me being clean. All they remember is the last thing I done to them. So I had to watch this step. So making amends. Some people I just wasn't finna make amends to. I made it to God. And that was good enough for me. Because some of the people that I made amends, because, you know, I did hang out with crazy people too. You know, being honest, when you on drugs, you hang out with anybody and everybody, you don't care. And I hung out with some crazy people. I hung out with some people that didn't care if they sliced your neck. I hung out with some people that didn't care if they robbed a bank. I hung out with the worst of the worst people. So, you know, some of them making amends too. I got to bypass that. I can't make it. Y'all, is y'all crazy? The way the world is today? But I had to make the ones that was really needed to make. That was to me, my mother, peoples in my family, and certain friends. Because everybody ain't Renee friends. I can look at everybody as my friends, but they don't see me like I see them. They don't see that. You know, I'm so glad I ain't the same, Renee. I'm so glad that the God of my understanding came into my life, and he touched every insecurity, every thought, every soul searching I was searching for, the things that I needed to nurture me, he gave it to me. And see, nothing bothers me now, but I speak about it. I might think about it, and then I let it over. I just look at it for what it is. I just look at it for what it is, because see, you ain't going to keep making me the victim. You ain't gonna keep making me understand that I am the victim in anything no more. I'm not held hostage. Guess what? The best thing I could have done for me is let the drugs and alcohol go. The best thing I could have done for me was got me a sponsor. The best thing I did for me is identify myself as being a recovering addict in the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. I did the AA. I am the AA of Narcotics Anonymous. I am the CA of Cocaine Anonymous. I am the NA of Narcotics Anonymous. I did it all. Alcohol, drugs, and cocaine. I did everything. I did everything. I don't know how. I really don't know how I still survived. I really don't. But through God's grace, I thank him for it. You know, I thank him when I wake up in the morning and I can see my mother picture, and I can see my son, and I can see my boyfriend and my godfather, the 4 people that I truly love. When I can wake up in the morning and see their pictures and know that God awoken me to see their pictures, it's just for today. I'm cool. I'm never going back to drugs and alcohol. I'm never going back to hurt, pain, and neglect. And that's what the drugs was. It was neglect. It was painful. It was hurtful. It was demeaningful. It was everything that you can think of the drugs took from me. But guess what? I got it back. I found Renee, and Renee is good. I worked on Renee. Renee is good. I relate to Renee. Renee is good. I have a conversation with Renee. Renee is good. Have a conversation with yourself sometime. Sit back and chill and have a conversation with yourself and tell me what you brought out of your own connection with yourself. And I tell you what I brought. I surrender. I'm good. I'm gifted. I love people. I love myself. I'm nurturing myself. I'm understanding myself. I'm taking time for myself. I'm giving me something back that I lost, and I done got it back triple fold. So I'm grateful. Thank y'all for letting me come into your life, come into your living room, be a part of your process, because y'all sure enough been a part of mine. Work them steps. Get with your sponsor. Get an understanding. Everybody work the program different. Everybody speak different. Everybody talk different. I'm only one person. That's Renee. And I do it Renee way. And everybody has to do it their way. We made a list of all persons. And even when you get off of here, when I get ready to close now, when you get to yourself, make a list. of people you have harmed and hurt. And try to have a willingness to do right by them. And see how much that itself will change your life. May God continue to bless you. May God continue to work on you. Because we all need working on. I ain't seen nobody that didn't need working on. Because I need work on every day. Because I'm so grateful that I'm who I am. I found Renee a long time ago. And I'm not losing her no more. Hey, step 9 for next week. We made direct amends to such people whenever it was possible. Except when we do so would injure them or others. Now, I didn't like this step, but it was a blessed step because I had to follow. We made a direct amends of such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. This is a very deep step for me, and it's going if you haven't got on it, when you get on it, it's going to be a very deep step for you. May God continue to bless y'all. I'll see y'all next Friday at 8 o'clock. You know, God has been good. Stay safe. Have a happy new year. I plan to go to the telethon this year. I didn't go last year at the 12 step and be a part of both of them. You know, be a part of both of them. So thank y'all. Bless y'all. Continue to love one another as God loves you. And y'all have a good evening. Thanks.